Hello there guys, well I've got a couple of things to share with you. First and foremost, I have made a club. Now quite a few people have commented on my previous videos asking if I would make a club in Forza Horizon 4, so I have. I don't know anything about what clubs do, but I've created one. It's called Katumi74. I have noticed a couple of things. First of all, there is a club leaderboard, so it would be nice if we could get a bunch of members in here and get up that leaderboard. That would be awesome. I've also noticed that I can also promote people. So if you are one of my regular subscribers and one of the people that comment often, you know who you guys are. If you join this, I will promote you to like admin status or whatever it is that I can do. So hopefully that's going to grow over time. And we will be able to compete with some of the other clubs. That would be pretty damn cool. So, that out of the way, I've just recorded this video twice previously. The first time, when I took my capture card out of the Xbox, it corrupted the file. It hadn't finished and it didn't work, so I couldn't do the video. The second time, I didn't have my microphone plugged in. Now, my MacBook was picking up the sound of my voice on the internal microphone, but it did sound like I was in a bathroom and it was horrible, so I've decided to start the entire thing again. So what I had done on my previous recordings is I created a blueprint, which I'd showed you me creating actually on the video. But I'm not going to create it again, I'm just going to show you it instead. So it's here at Derwent Water Trail. If I fast travel over to it, I'm going to go round, I don't know, I'll start driving around it as I tell you a couple of things, and it's an 8-lap track and we'll see how far around I get. I might just do a couple of laps, I might end up doing it all. So it starts off here, and if I go into solo and go to my custom events, for me it's going to be in the my events. It's this one, the Leap of Faith. But for you guys, what you should do is go to search and then go up to the top and go to friends and followed. And when you do that, it should appear if, oh, I've got to press confirm. If you are following me on Xbox, or if you're my friend on Xbox and you do that, it should appear. So I'm obviously following DPG Marvin 213, and his has now appeared. But you'll see in my friends and followed, his is appearing now, so maybe they fixed it. Hopefully. But anyway, that's how you find it. Well, that will work for many people. It's not going to work for everybody because the system has bugs, but we've had updates, so maybe they fixed it. So this is it. It starts in the morning on a foggy day, which I like because it goes over a jump, one of the danger signs, and I like the idea of jumping into the unknown, like jumping into the fog. But as the day progresses, sometimes the fog clears, sometimes it doesn't. It's rally monster cars. So I'm going with the Manta. It's set as a dirt track, and it's also, what else? I think it's about 8 laps. Did I say that already? You might see that I've now got a new outfit because it's summer. On my previous video, I actually was choosing the outfit, so you don't have to sit through that now. But there we go. I've changed over to my summer clothes. So the Leap of Faith. Why have I called this the Leap of Faith? Well, this is a nod to an experience from many, many years ago. So as I'm racing this, I'm going to tell you a story. What have we got settings on? Okay, that all looks good. I'm going to leave the driver line on full so you can see how I've laid down the track. But there's no... I haven't put anything in this to cripple the driver tires. This is just because it's fun to drive, but you genuinely have to drive it well if you expect to win. Now, some of the driver tires might fuck up, but there's nothing that I've done that's going to cause that, so you've got to drive it well. So let's get into this, and I'll tell you a story. Many years ago, when I was in my 20s and I was a DJ, me and my friends used to go to a nightclub called Madison's in the Neaton, which was, I mean, it wasn't a great nightclub, but it was just great that we all went to the same place and the music was awesome. My friend Steve was a DJ there. Not at this time, he was a DJ there later, I think. At this time it was a guy called Dean. Dangerous Dean, we called him, and he looked like Kevin the Gerbil, so we used to nickname him Kevin the Gerbil. If you know who Kevin the Gerbil is, from Roland Rat. So that's going back some time. But yeah, we used to go to Madison's, and then after we came out of the nightclub, as you do, you go to a burger van. Now, there were two ways to get to the burger van. There was the short and sensible way, and there was the long and sensible way, and the short and very stupid and dangerous way. And the short, stupid, dangerous way became known as the leap of faith. Oh look, someone's messed up there on the right. They've overshot that checkpoint. So the journey from the nightclub to the burger van, you could go around this kind of winding road, or you could go across a car park, and then there were some very, very steep steps that dropped down to a lower car park, and the burger van was just across the street from there. Now, the drop was about 1.5 stories. It wasn't as high as 2 stories, but it was a lot higher than 1. And there was a fence at the edge of the car park. Oh, shit. There was a fence at the edge of the car park, and then them very steep steps that you could walk down. In the lower car park, there was usually, I'd say about 80% of the time, a skip. And the skip was usually, I'd say about 70% of the time, full of cardboard. But there was no guarantee that the skip was going to be there, and there was no guarantee that the skip was going to have anything in it if it was there. And there was also no guarantee that the skip would be in exactly the same place every time, but it usually was. It was pretty much always guaranteed to be in the same place. But the leap of faith involved running across the top car park, jumping over the fence without looking, and landing, hopefully, into a skip full of cardboard. So I did the leap of faith probably about 4 times. What stopped me from doing it is one time I did the leap of faith, and the skip was there, but it was almost completely empty. There was just a tiny bit of rubbish in the bottom, like a couple of bits of cardboard, but I sort of hit the metal base. Now, fortunately, a metal skip does have a little tiny bit of a give to it, more so than just a concrete floor. So I didn't break my legs or anything, which is fortunate, but it did put me off doing it again. It realised how stupid I'd been. But yeah, I did the leap of faith. Maybe, yeah, it would have been about 4 times. 3 times very successfully into a skip full of cardboard, which felt bloody awesome. And 1 time into an almost empty skip and really fucking hurt my legs. And my hands as well, so I fell forward onto the palms of my hands and they were stinging like a bitch. But although this didn't happen, what I think should have happened is if you did the leap of faith, I think that when you got to the burger van, your friends should have all bought your burger, you know? That would have been a nice touch. Oh, God, I've missed that one again. I think that would have been a pretty cool touch, wouldn't it? That should have been the reward for making the leap of faith. But yeah, only a few of us did it. There was me and probably 2 others of my group of friends that would actually do it. And everyone else just thought we were very stupid, which we were. But fortunately, I didn't break any bones. Now, I have broke bones in my life from doing stupid things that are similar to that. I've broken 11 bones in total now. And the most recent one, I broke my foot last year in Colombia. But I didn't have any kind of medical insurance or anything like that. So I didn't go for any treatment. But when you've broken as many bones as I have, when you go to the hospital, they don't fix the bone, okay? A doctor does not, unless it's broken really badly and they need to put a screw in you or a metal plate, what kind of happens is they immobilize the joint completely and the bone. They hold it in place with a plaster, and then the bone fixes itself. You fix the bone, okay? The doctor doesn't fix anything. The doctor immobilizes a part of your body so your body can fix itself. So I figured when I broke my foot in Colombia, I'm going to hit, thank goodness for that. I figured I don't really need to go to the hospital because I know I've broke my foot. I don't need to go to the hospital. What I can do instead is immobilize my foot completely, create something to take the weight off it and stop me from using my muscles, and then it'll fix itself. So I made a cast of my foot in paper mache. I made a cast of the top of my foot. I kind of used paper mache with cloth, and it was really, really strong. And I made a cast of the bottom of my foot as well. And then when I sandwiched those two together, it was like a full cast, but it was one that I could open. So I had them sandwiched over my foot, and then I kind of wrapped elastic around it to hold it in place. And then I kind of had that on my foot. It was quite big, but it completely immobilized my foot really, really well. and then I had like a piece of webbing, like a strap, a bit like a seatbelt really, that I kind of wrapped around the bottom of this thing, and then I held that in my hand. And if I wanted to move around, I just lifted my foot off the floor using this strap. So I didn't have to use any leg muscles whatsoever. I didn't have to put any weight on the floor, anything. And I tell you what, that worked really, really bloody well. Much better than crutches, right? Much, much better. No, I didn't have to use the muscles of my legs, my foot, or anything. Now, when I tried to lift my foot without it, because of the actual bone I'd broken, it was one of those long ones that go like along your foot towards your toes. As soon as I lifted my foot, those bones sort of collapse a little bit, and when you put your foot down, they spread out. And because of that, it was very, very painful to lift my foot, or I couldn't put my foot flat down at all. So once I'd made this cast, and I was lifting it up with the assistance of this this strap, it worked much better than clutches. It was cool. Airborne pass, what's that? Never had that before. Is that passing someone whilst I'm in the air? I didn't seem to be in the air. Oh, it might have been from the big jump, and it was just catching up with me. It was probably that. So yeah, I broke 11 bones. The most recent one was my foot in Colombia. The way I did it, we was up like a big shopping, not a shopping centre, like a supermarket, a really big one where you go and do like a month's worth of shopping, and they have like massive, really heavy trolleys, and it's the sort that have those metal wheels so that you can go up like tramolator things, like escalatory type things, and the wheels get stuck so that the trolley doesn't roll down, which means that they have very sharp metal wheels, and they're heavy. And also we got a lot of shopping in it as well, but I pulled one of those and I accidentally pulled it onto the side of my foot, and I mean, when I did it, it bloody hurt a lot. But if you've broken a bone, you will know that the day you break it, I mean, it hurts, but you kind of don't realise that it's broken until a few hours later, and then it's a very, very familiar pain. It's a really dull, deep ache, and it bloody hurts a lot, and you can't get into a comfortable position, and it really, really aches, and you feel like you need to kind of suspend your limb with no pressure anywhere at all to try and, whoops, oh, I was expecting to just hit that tree, that's why I rewound. So yeah, I mean, years ago, I was at the skate park in Derby, and I broke my wrist. I slammed really quite badly and broke my wrist, but at the time I was trying to do hand plants on the mini ramp, and I carried on trying to do hand plants on the mini ramp with a broken wrist for hours, and then later when I got home, I was like, oh my god, my arm is killing, and that familiar deep ache set in. I was like, oh my god, I've broke my wrist. I went up to the hospital for an x-ray, and yes, I had broke my wrist. I broke both of my wrists several times, often from falling off skateboards, falling out of trees, that kind of stuff, just being stupid. I broke 4 ribs. I broke my elbow, and when I broke my elbow, I actually broke the end off my elbow. So on the x-ray there was like a floating piece of bone, and they said you need an operation. They had to screw the bone back on. But I was prepped for the operation. I was waiting to go into the operating theatre to have this piece of bone screwed back onto me. And all of a sudden, there was all this turmoil in the hospital, and an emergency had happened. And a load of people came into the hospital, like seriously injured, and they needed emergency operations to stop them from dying. And their operations were more important than mine, so they all went first. And I didn't get my operation on that day at all. And then... so my bone was loose, floating around on my elbow. It really hurt, actually, and I kept banging it as well, which was really annoying. But then I went back to the hospital again. They did some more x-rays, and they said that it started to heal itself. It started to reconnect. So they now believed that they didn't want to put a screw in my arm, so they didn't, and they left it. I kept going back for more x-rays, and eventually they said, there's nothing we can do that's going to help it now. The way that it is, the bone has regrown, we can no longer get it back in the right place. So it's now not in the right place. It's kind of like a little nudge. Hey, so do I get an airborne pass again? So yeah, that happened the last time I broke my arm. But interestingly, I think I shared this on a previous video, when I broke my ribs and my elbow, that was about 3.5, 4 years ago. And when I did that, I was riding around on my bike, just a push bike cycle, around the Nuneaton on a cycle lane, and there was an old couple that were walking in my cycle lane, and I swerved to go around them, and I was going really, really fast, and when I swerved, my front wheel buckled, and I fell off my bike really badly. It actually bent the frame of my bike. That's how hard I hit the floor. But when I fell off is when I broke 4 ribs and my elbow. And I was actually going to meet someone at the coffee shop, so I carried on. I went to the coffee shop. I was in the coffee shop for quite some time. My arm was bleeding, so the girl in the coffee shop gave me, she cleaned up the cut on my arm and gave me, stuck a plaster on it, basically. But I didn't realise it was broken at all, and I was sat in the coffee shop and I was thinking it aches a bit, and I also didn't know I'd broken my ribs. And that night I couldn't get in a comfortable position in bed. My ribs were really hurting and my arm was aching. I went to the hospital and I'd broken my elbow, which they x-rayed, but they don't x-ray ribs, so they didn't know. I mean, they knew I'd broken them from just me explaining what it was, but actually a few months later I went to Turkey, and I had a bad experience with breathing in some toxic gas from a fridge that had broken in my hotel room, and I got chemical pneumonia from it, and I had to have my lungs x-rayed because of this. And actually on that same holiday I also got a tapeworm, which made me lose quite a lot of weight, and I had this tapeworm from my holiday in Turkey. What a great hotel. It gave me chemical pneumonia and a tapeworm. But because of the pneumonia, I mean, it wasn't bad. I'm a very, very healthy person, so my body was able to fight it off. But I did need some lung x-rays to see how this was going. And on the lung x-rays, obviously, you could see my ribs. So you could see the ribs that were broken, which is that's the only reason I knew I'd broken 4 of them. But the healing process of having broken ribs is very painful. But anyway, when I broke those bones, I couldn't bend my arm because my elbow being broken, and it was my right arm, which is the one I usually shave with. So because shaving was I'm in first bloody gear. Because shaving was difficult, I didn't bother doing it, and I grew a beard. Now, I know I've said this on a previous video, but the picture of me with a beard is the one that I then put on my Facebook. Now, I was in Colombia, and I went to a house party. I saw a girl who I thought was quite stunning, but I was a little bit too shy to talk to her, and she didn't speak much English, and I spoke no Spanish. But I later found out who she was, and I found her on Facebook, and she saw that picture of me on Facebook with the beard. And she happened to be single, looking for a guy, and she liked guys that had beards. So that's what made her, notice me, and she liked my picture, and we got chatting. And that's the only reason that she actually started chatting to me, was because of that photo. And that photo only existed because that old couple walked in my way, I fell off my bike, I broke my elbow, broke my ribs, and grew a beard because I couldn't shave. So how crazy is that? I now live in Colombia, I'm now married, simply because of that experience. So, a bit spooky, but seriously, if that old couple were not walking in the cycle lane, I would now be living an incredibly different life in a different country. I'd probably live in London and be doing something completely different. I would never have met my wife. And yeah, absolutely insane that such a tiny thing, some people walking where they shouldn't have done, has now caused me to have a completely different life experience. So there we go. That's, how many stories was that? 1 or 2. So a couple of stories, and we are about to finish lap number 8. Now, as you've seen, I didn't win. I'm last. Everyone else has already finished. So this is not a guaranteed win. You have to try, but it's enjoyable and it's challenging. I'm on unbeatable driver tires. I'm driving really bad. I'm talking to you guys. The telly is turned down and I'm forgetting to change gear. So, I mean, I've done this before and I've come second and I've come like 6th and stuff like that. It's just enjoyable to do. So I've got a 14.29, the top is a 13.05, so you can see I was quite far behind. But yeah, if you like the look of this blueprint, then please do check it out. The real reason for this video is to talk about my plan with future videos. I'm going to be doing a featured blueprint video every week. Now, this is how it's going to work. Leave a comment on this video with your blueprint. Leave your gamer tag, leave the location of where your blueprint is, so the start point, and also tell people roughly where that is. So for this one, I would be saying Derwentwater, just to the south of Derwentwater. Tell people a little bit about the blueprint, why they might want to race it. Say whether or not you are crippling the driver tars with deviations to the track that you don't have to do, or weaving or anything, or whether it's one like this one I've just made, where if you want to win, you've got to race good. Tell people roughly how many credits they can expect to win and influence if they race it. Also let them know if that's VIP or not VIP. And just give them some information so they can decide if they want to do your blueprint. Now, over the course of a week, what I'd like to ask people to do is to race those blueprints, and if you enjoy it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't enjoy it, or if there are problems like missed checkpoint and all that stuff, then give it a thumbs down. So do that on all of the comments, and we will kind of through this have like a voting system so we can see which blueprint wins. So after a week, I will then make another video featuring blueprints, but not one of my own like today. It will feature whichever was the most popular blueprint from all those comments. So I'll feature that one on my following video, and on the following video you can then put new comments, so that there's always a fresh place where you can be putting your blueprint. So that's the idea. I want these videos to become a forum where you can put your new blueprints. Now, obviously, as the videos get old, people don't watch them, which is why I'm making a new one every week. So if a new video comes out and you have a blueprint on the old one and you want to get it on the new one, copy and paste it across. Or if you've made a blueprint that you think is better than your old one, then put your new one on there. If you want to put a few on there, do that. But that's going to be the way this is going to happen. You might realize that a blueprint that you had in the past is no longer very good because of some update in the game, or there's a problem with it, it misses checkpoints or something like that. So what I was going to do is just copy them, paste them all forward, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to ask you guys to do is, if you want a new blueprint of yours, put it on the comments. If you want to just find your old blueprint from the comment on the previous video, just copy and paste it across if that blueprint is still valid. And then what we'll do, we'll vote them up and down. Next week I'll make another featured blueprint of the week video, and I'll feature whichever is the best one based on your voting. And on that video, that will then become the new forum for you to put your blueprints. So it's always going to be fresh. So that means new people that are watching my new videos, new subscribers, people who just stumble into my videos, they're not going to be watching the old ones. They're going to be watching the new ones. So every week we're going to have a new featured blueprint. So there we go. That's what I kind of wanted to share with you. I've made a club, and I want this new forum of a place for putting blueprints, and I'll be putting up a new one of these videos every single week. So a new featured blueprint, and this is the first one. And because it's the first one, it's just featuring my blueprint. So this blueprint, no guarantee you're going to win. I'm not crippling the driver tires in any way at all, but it's fun to do. It's a dirt race blueprint, and it starts here at Derwentwater, which, if you didn't know, is right there. Now, what makes this blueprint fun is this danger sign. It jumps over this danger sign, and that's a fun thing to do. So what I'd like to God, look at that, I haven't even got 3 stars. I wonder if it's no, it's not. I was going to say, I wonder if you get the danger sign if you do it while you're in a blueprint, but I'm pretty sure that you don't. It's just a jump. But I mean, I'm thinking about going around some of the other danger signs and incorporating them into blueprints as well, because they are fun. And also possibly doing like a really long track that goes all around the map, incorporating maybe even all of the danger signs. So it's a big long A to B race with loads of jumps in it, or maybe even a loop. So yeah, that could be a really interesting thing to do, and it's something you guys might want to think about as well. So there we go, that's all from me. I hope you enjoy that race. And I also hope that it gives you a couple of ideas for your own blueprints. Incorporating those danger signs, those jumps, makes it a lot more interesting. And also, I mean, the driver tars don't do it perfectly. They do slow down a bit. But as you could see with me racing this if you want to beat them, you've got to focus and you've got to actually try to win. Whereas what I did was piss poor. But I just wanted to share it with you. So there we go, guys. Please do leave comments. Put your blueprints in there. If you've put your blueprint comment on a previous video and you want it on this one, just copy and paste it forward. And I will be doing a fresh one of these, as I say, every single week. So there we go. You take care. Have an awesome day. And remember to get yourself on the club, and hopefully we can start competing against the other clubs. So it's Katumi74, same as my gamer tag, same as my registration, same as my name of every character I ever play in every game ever. So you take care, see you soon, bye bye.